I would be real on guard if I was Chase this week, because Coop is going to come out hot.
I don't know, 15 years from now when you talk about Cooper Webb, pull up that picture, because that's what I think of when I think about Cooper Webb.
100%. You still have to be very precise, but a soft bike ceiling is a lot higher to me than a stiff motorcycle.
JB and AC, the energy was awesome. Those two are just like really finding their groove.
4 straight overall wins.
$100,000. Adam Cianciarulla.
Checkered flag and Justin Brady. Has won the 2019 Web Motocross Championship.
He's gonna do it to become the oldest winner in the history of Supercross.
JB, how are you, man? East Rutherford. You brought the fam. It was a good time.
It was fun. Yeah. You know, every year before you start the season, you look at the calendar. And for me, as married with 3 kids, I like to pick a few to bring the family to. And felt like it was a good one. Bring them to New York City. Obviously, the East Rutherford, New Jersey, and MetLife Stadium was it's about, what is it, like 8 or 9 miles or something like that. So it could vary. It could either be a 25-minute drive, or it could be a 3-hour and 25-minute drive, and anywhere in between. AC, we know how the traffic is there.
We know how the traffic is. And JB, I remember when I was racing, I would always say to myself, you know, you're so particular in terms of your sleep, your travel, making sure everything's dialed, not doing anything too late on Friday nights or getting in too late on Thursdays, all this stuff. I remember when I was racing, I used to think to myself, man, if I ever get sick, if I ever fly in late and not get enough sleep, like, I'll never complain about that stuff again, because it's so stressful when you're racing, right? But without racing, it's like, well, I don't need energy. You know, I don't need to feel good. It's no big deal. And so we fly on Thursdays to the races because we have some things to do on Friday. And so there's been a few times where the only direct flight gets in really late, like around midnight. And so I did the same thing this weekend, flew in at midnight. And I did an interview with the Daily Mail in Jorge Prado on Friday. It was kind of a last minute thing at 10 a.m. So I ended up going to sleep maybe around 2:33.
Oh, wow.
And I thought to myself, you know what? I keep trying to do that thing where I don't care how late I fly in on Thursday. But, dude, I've come to the conclusion I like sleep. Like, I really do. And so I was talking a big game about how it wouldn't matter at all when I was racing. And now I need it. I need sleep, dude.
Yeah, I'm with you.
How about this? So I fly into East Rutherford. I get in around midnight. There's one of the trams was messing up. So I ended up got the rental car. It's maybe 12:30, 12:45. It's maybe a 25, 30-minute drive to the hotel. I missed one turn, and I ended up doing an entire loop. I went back all the way to the same road when I left the rental car center. I did a 20-minute loop. So yeah, I don't know really exactly how that's relevant, other than I'm just an idiot.
Well, the exact same thing happened to us. So we got delayed because East Rutherford, or the Newark airport, they went down to one runway because something was going on. So I don't know. Were you delayed or were you on time?
No, I was on time.
Oh, really? Okay. So we were delayed. And I actually seen Justin Cooper in the Charlotte airport, and him and his wife were flying to LaGuardia, and our flights left at like almost the exact same time. So we're like, all right, man, we'll see you this weekend, whatever. And we get delayed. Weege was on our flight as well. We get delayed like an hour or two. And Jay Coop basically had already landed at LaGuardia when we were taking off because the Newark airport was down to one runway. So we land. We had an appointment at like 4:30 at a place called The Edge in New York City. It's like a observing deck, like you can go out there. So I've got my 2 older kids, 10-year-old and a 7-year-old. I got my wife Paige with me. We're going to have a blast. We're going to land at
love it.
We're going to land at 1:30 or 2. We're going to go to the hotel and hang out for a minute, check in. Then we're going to drive to the city. Well, we ended up landing like at I don't know, 4:00 or something like that. And I took a wrong turn. So I'm just like, hey, let's go check into the hotel. I took a wrong turn and it added 30 minutes. 30 minutes. But it took us the way like we were going to the edge. So I'm just like, all right, let's just go straight there.
You know,
we ended up going straight there. And yeah, to your point, if you miss one turn up there, I don't know how people live up there and do it. They obviously know where they're going, I guess.
So on Fridays, our rundown meeting is always in a spot, in the stadium, somewhere, coach's lounge or some VIP area. It's always different. And so most of the time, it's in an email somewhere most of the time, but we get so many emails that I end up just asking you, and I end up following you around. And I have realized that you're about as directionally challenged as I am. I'll say that. I'll say that.
Around these stadiums, for sure. These stadiums are.
It was fun, though. It was fun on Friday watching you ride again. Dude, I don't know how you're that fast still. I really don't get it.
Oh, come on. Come on.
No, I'm serious. This isn't just for the podcast. I really don't understand. I was trying to make it happen as well to be able to ride with you for these track previews. But we need a little bit more time to get that done. Hopefully it's going to be something we both can do in the playoffs.
That'll be fun.
I remember watching you in Indianapolis, watching you at MetLife this past weekend. I don't get it. Like your technique, you just blast through the whoops, third gear, no problem.
Oh yeah. Oh, no problem.
Straight off the couch. You're 55 years old. I don't understand how you still. I feel like the talent has left my body, dude. Like I just don't have it anymore.
You know what's weird? So I hadn't hit a triple in like 2 years, and because there wasn't a triple in Indy, it was just a finish line double, and rest of the track, whatever. I feel like I don't know. The whoops to me, it's so weird, AC, to be totally honest. Like I can't even explain it, but that to me is like the most fun, easiest section. Like when I seen back-to-back whoops and they wanted me to ride at that specific track, I'm like, yes, sign me up.
You're a psychopath.
And I love it. I absolutely love it.
Respectfully.
And then the triple was like, so like once I started riding a good bit, and those of you that tuned in the broadcast, I did a lap for the broadcast. But when I did that lap, it wasn't great. Like I just, I'm talking through it, whatever. The track was pretty muddy.
Double the long lane.
What's that?
Double the long lane.
Yeah, double the long lane, which
respect.
We'll get into that in a little bit. But it was pretty muddy. I wasn't like super comfortable. And those of you that don't know, it's Jet's complete bike. I bumped the levers up a little bit. I moved the bars up just a touch, but I literally rode his exact bike this weekend. And typically I'm pretty picky with my bars and grips and stuff. So, but I started to feel comfortable. And so you were talking to me in my helmet, and there towards the end, I'm like, I'm starting to feel pretty good. I actually was having a lot of fun. I was putting together, there was that one table over single, then triple into the turn.
Yep.
That was pretty fun.
And you had the section before the finish line dialed over the tabletop, table single.
Yeah, it was fun. It was a lot of fun. And I can't wait till you get out there with me, man. Hopefully we make that happen for the playoffs. And I do think that'll be next level, because then we can really like talk about, hey, when Adam is outside and I go inside, here's what happens, especially at those playoff rounds when it's, super motocross, right? Part of it's motocross, part of it's supercross.
No whoops, dude. I'm in.
Let's do it. And no whoops, so you'll be fine.
My thing is with the whoops is I actually enjoy the whoops, or at least I did. I enjoyed the whoops until this nerve damage in my hand made it like the scariest thing in the world. I never knew when my hand was going to fly off the handlebar. And that's how I did I was fourth gear wide open in the Cowie test track, basically fourth gear wide open, doing 50 miles an hour, and my hand fell off in 2021. Mm-hmm. And that's why I have this massive bone sticking out of my shoulder. So that's my beef with the whoops. That's just physically related. I actually like that section a lot, but I'm more of a catch air guy, rail a sand berm guy. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to doing the playoffs with you. And that two-way communication that we've been testing out, dude, it's pretty crazy how clear it is, how clear it comes through when you're riding.
Yeah, I mean, it's unreal. At first, I felt like I was having to yell to you, and then the guys were like, you don't have to talk loud at all. Like, you can basically whisper. So then I was trying to talk really quiet to you, and you were like, yeah, it's no problem. Like, I can still hear you plain as day.
Man,
Pretty cool.
how far do you think we're out? Because right now there's a little piece, the company that does it, I can't remember it off the top of my head.
Cardo
What is it? What is it?
Systems, the one we're
Cargo
running.
systems. So there's
Yeah.
a little piece on the side of your helmet, which would be, I think, a problem with the new rule. You can't really have anything, no
Yeah.
GoPros or anything like that. So got to find a way to integrate it into the helmet. But man, I really hope that happens sooner rather than later in terms of, because it would add such an amazing dynamic, I think, to the broadcasts. I've been watching the NBA playoffs, right? And they always have a coach or a player mic'd up, and there's nothing better than that. Hearing them break stuff down and the way they talk to each other, I find that so stimulating. So I think it would be such an add to the broadcast.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a really difficult thing for our sport to bring the fans inside the helmet, right? And kudos to Feld and everyone at NBC and everyone that's kind of trying to make this happen. To bring the viewer inside the helmet is awesome. Like, we can go out and shoot a basketball and guys can, you can have a sense of relation to those guys, or throw a football or whatever on a football field. But to bring somebody on the bike that has never done it before inside the helmet, like, it's a very difficult task, and they're trying. I think this is the next wave of some, like you said, the helmet communication, being able to talk to the guys, hear what they're saying, maybe have a spotter out there talking to them, not only for safety reasons, but also for like line selection. Like, imagine this weekend, Sexton going to the far right side of that second set of whoops. Imagine if it didn't take Coop 2 or 3 laps to figure that out, if he went there immediately, stuff like that. And then we can hear that on the broadcast. Like, man, that would be really, really cool. And question for you, AC, as a racer, I have my opinion on this, but like, what do you think if they just said, yep, starting at, I don't know, pick around Charlotte, round 1 of the playoffs, everyone's running it. What do you think? Not so much the teams, but what would you think as a rider if they came to you and said that?
The first thing that I would think is I would want a little heads up so I could try it during the week.
Yep.
And then just to figure out what kind of information that I want, and if it would make me, because the last thing you want to do, especially in Supercross, is lose focus, even for a split second. I mean, those guys have to be so locked in the entire time. So I think it would require a really good relationship between yourself and whoever is doing the communicating, whoever is talking to you.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, and maybe I'm biased because I'm on this side of it now, but I was always a fan of things like Triple Crowns, the playoffs, that kind of stuff that made it more engaging for the fans. I really did, unless it was anything too far out there, I really kind of gravitated towards that, because the fans it's the reason why we can do it, right? So sometimes as a rider, a lot of times the riders with the Triple Crowns, they're not super stoked on them because it's more riding, it's more starts, more first laps, next to other guys, a little bit more risk. But dude, I think it'll be amazing. And I don't think it'll be like multiple years away. I think it's going to come pretty quick.
Yeah, I hope so. And I guess what I would say to that is, for what you spot on with, for sure you'd want to test it out. But I think that's a dynamic that could be amazing of, hey, Adam has the most sought after crew chief or spotter in the business. Like, that's what happens in NASCAR. Like, there's really, really good spotters that are sought after every year. Like, they're highly paid guys. And then, how much does Eli Tomac like to be talked to compared to Jet Lawrence? Like, and then you figure that out, right? And I think that's so cool. Like, Cooper Webb might want somebody to be talking to him the whole race, and Eli Tomac might only want lap times, and I love that dynamic. I think it's really cool. And not even talking about the safety aspect, right, of red cross flags, or hey, there's a guy down, or is tough block over there. I love the dynamic of just certain line selection, and then for the broadcast, being able to tap in guys and to talk to them, whether it's on RDL after qualifying. For instance, Hymas ghost rides his bike off the finish line but doesn't qualify fastest.
Yeah.
Hey, let's pull him over. Let's talk to him. AC has a quick question for him, or I got something to ask him. Like, how cool would that be?
And I think it would highlight, it's something, I think it would highlight that it takes a team, right? I really don't think we had this, I think we did an interview with Larry Brooks earlier in the year, right after Daytona, after Ken got that big win at Daytona. And you and I were talking about that a lot, like how great Larry Brooks is for Ken specifically, and just how much he's done behind the scenes. If you think about Chad Reed, James Stewart, all the guys he's been around,
McGrath,
and how much he's lifted those guys up. He's been such a integral part of their program, and we don't hear anything about it.
Yeah.
We barely, there's not a lot of mechanics. Like if I just watched the broadcast, if I was just a fan and I wasn't an industry insider, not a lot of mechanics, I wouldn't know their names. I don't know, these team managers' names. I don't know these guys that are, it's so important. It takes everything. And that's why you see guys, you see sometimes guys leave a team when they're doing so well, and you're like, why would they leave, right? Because it's all these little relationships, and there's so much that goes in it behind the scenes. We also spoke at Arlington when Will Christian did the interview with Ian Harrison after Chase tossed that one away, and we were talking about, wow, that was an amazing job that Ian did of kind of presenting a united front, really having Chase's back in that moment. Those kinds of things matter. And I think the two-way communication is just an opportunity for us to spotlight somebody else on the team. And I really think we could just do a better job in general of highlighting the people that, that the people that make it happen. It's not just the rider. And I think there could be ways where we could integrate that a bit more. And the culture has always been, it's just the rider and the bike, right? And I think that's starting to change more and more as we grow. And so, that's my opinion. I think it could be a great opportunity to highlight someone else. I mean, you see it even, I've been making a point to watch F1 a lot this year.
Yeah.
And there's been races where not much is happening, but it's so interesting to hear the radio communication, the strategy, all that kind of stuff. And we kind of had that this weekend in the 450 class. There was a battle with AP and Barcia, but Chase pulled away from Coop pretty early, and it wasn't a whole lot going on.
Yeah.
Right. So just another way to keep fans engaged.
Yeah. And in that moment, what would Cooper Webb have been saying back to his team? Like, I think it can really bring out some real emotion, and you can get to know these guys as racers.
Yeah.
And it kind of like makes them feel a little more human, right? Because I say it all the time. I don't know if you agree, but me, when I was younger, I used to say, like, I felt like Jeremy McGrath and these guys were cartoon characters.
Totally.
Because they were like, it was so far away for me to even race a Supercross, let alone, or even go to a Supercross, let alone race one. And I just felt like they're guys with helmets on. You don't get to see their face. You don't get to hear them talk much other than just the top three on the podium. So that could be a whole nother aspect of it. You really get to see the human side of these guys. So
yeah,
I'm with you, man. I hope it comes sooner than later. And I want to touch on the Ian Harrison thing just a little bit more, because I've heard a couple more interviews with him. I don't know Ian that well. I never rode for him, but I'm impressed with him, man. I am so impressed with the way he leads. You mentioned Larry Brooks. I've always been impressed with him just for the back, like he has the rider's back, and you hear stories of just like he's so helpful behind the scenes. But Ian Harrison, to me, I sat next to him on the plane one time. I think it was to Orlando or something. And I was like, man, he's a nice guy, genuine guy, very thoughtful, asks questions. When you talk to some people, they're like,
not engaged.
It's kind of one-sided and not really engaged. He was he's great, man. I'm impressed.
The worst is when you're talking to somebody and they look like over your shoulder.
Yeah.
They like glance away. It just makes me want to tackle whoever that is every time. Like you literally just letting me know that you don't want to be here right now, right? Yeah. Which is crazy. But I agree. Ian was always super nice to me. Never rode for him, and that's I thought it was cool that he treated me that well when there was nothing in it for him, right? He wasn't trying to get me on his team or anything. He was just cool dude. So let's get into East Rutherford a bit. First thing we got to bring up, we got to touch on it. In practice, our guy Jerry Robin went down pretty hard. Went to the hospital. Pretty scary deal for everybody involved. We got a red flag, and of course we're just watching our monitor when we do RDL. Then anytime there's a red flag, you and I end up turning around, looking, seeing where somebody's down. And we saw Jerry down, and we thought his leg was kind of in a weird position. So right away, you and I were like, man, this doesn't look too good. Justin Starling stopped and checked on him, and everybody was like telling, the Alpine Star crew to get there as quick as possible. And so, yeah, Jerry, of course, in the hospital. We found out, he posted on Instagram yesterday that as of right now, paralyzed from the belly button down. JB, makes me sick to my stomach, man. And Jerry's a good dude.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it does, man. It's crazy because, it's our worst fear, right? As racers. And yeah, like leaving there that night, I don't know Jerry that well, but for some reason I've always gravitated towards him. Like I love the way he rides.
Yeah.
I mean, even you mentioned, being like when we first started working together last year during the playoffs, like I talked about him a lot. I like him, and I don't even know him. You know what I mean? Like I've probably talked to him probably less than 5 minutes my whole life, and
Likewise.
Just seems like such a genuine dude, a good guy. It sucks that has happened, but to get to that level that he was at as a 450 main event guy, if he puts half of that effort into, recovering and being able to walk again, I'm sure he'll make it happen. Seems like a very driven dude. And we'll, here to support him in any way. I'm sure there's some ways that we could support him financially. I'm sure we'll put some stuff up here
Definitely
on the podcast, but you just hate to see it, man. A mistake in a rhythm lane and, could be life altering, which is terrible to see. So thoughts and prayers with Jerry and his family. And hopefully he can, bounce back as soon as possible.
I echo your sentiments, JB. It is the dark side of the sport. We saw it with Blake Savage, my friend Blake Savage.
Yeah.
Went through it. There's been Matt Byton last year, Jesse Nelson. And you think back as a rider, you think back to all the times you crashed and all the times it could have gone bad for you, right? All it takes is that one time. And so, as you said, we'll throw Jerry's link up, the Road to Recovery. I know they always do a great job. And one of the things I do love about our community is anytime we do have a rider go down and they need assistance, our community really rallies, behind the rider. We really, financially support. I think that's just super important, right? Because as a racer, anytime you're injured, it's up to you, right? Even the team is like, okay, well, let us, go get surgery. Let us know when you're back. And it can be a pretty dark, you can get in a dark space mentally pretty quickly. And so, I do love that as a community, as, former riders, everybody's here to lift each other up. And of course, wish Jerry the best.
Yeah. Chad Saltz as well earlier. Got injured as well. And the one thing I will say before we get into the racing is, like we've all had some bad things in life happen. And I don't know if this is stepping over the lines, but I do feel like whether it's like, my wife lost her mom and so I've kind of like lived through some of this on what do you say, right? What do you say to Jerry? The one thing that I will say is like, there can be a period where there's so many people reaching out and then it becomes flat. Right. And that's the point when I would encourage everyone to continue reaching out, like whatever it may be, like, let's not stop supporting him. You know what I mean? Like right now, everyone's supporting him. Like, let's, months and weeks, like years to come. Like, you know what I mean? I feel like there can be a period where hopefully he is recovering and can walk again, but continue to support him and reach out and from fans to fellow racers, all of it. So
couldn't agree more, JB. I haven't talked to Jerry too much in my career, but just strikes me as a guy he's always seems happy to be there, grateful, has really done a great job, building his career. He's, as you said, he's been a main event guy.
Yeah.
And he's gotten so much better. So we wish him the best, and hard to even transition into talking racing after that.
It is, man. It is. Yeah.
Where are we starting? Are we starting with the Hymas Ghost Ride?
Let's do it. Let's start there.
That was crazy, dude. And I think for those of you that weren't watching RDL, that didn't see the social clip, Chance Hymas going into the last turn in the first qualifier was on a fast lap, leaned the bike over. It looks like he caught his foot, kind of knacked off the side of the bike. And what I loved is it looked like a conscious effort for him to try to get the bike over the line. I don't know, maybe a little nod to Brian Deegan, perhaps.
There you go, little ghost ride the whip off the finish. It's interesting. So I went over there. Typically, my stop in between RDL and the night show is the Honda truck. Grab a coffee, little caffeine, get us going again. And I talked to Chance, and he was like, "Oh man, I've made a mistake or two coming down to the finish line because AC, when you have a good lap going, there isn't anything in that moment that means more than that one lap, especially if you have a good one going." He said he had a good one, and he made a mistake, so he went into the last turn and just threw caution to the wind. He wanted to rip that turn, and obviously was trying to qualify as best as he could.
Respect.
And came off the side of the bike, and I said on RDL, I'm like, good on him for having the awareness to just let the bike go. Some guys would just hold on. Some guys are not letting go of the bike. So yeah, that was pretty cool. Glad he was all right.
We need to figure out what that rule is. Does the rider have to be on the machine? Because most of the time, the timing and scoring that makes the transponder go off is normally at the bottom of the face, correct?
Yep.
So it's just the bike, and the transponder's on the motorcycle usually.
Yeah, it's usually right there on the fork, right?
So I don't know. I don't know what the rule is there, but
I don't know if there is a rule, right? I mean,
it just doesn't happen that often.
No, it doesn't.
Okay, so I've been high on the guy all year long. I've been high on him all year. I called his win, the East-West Showdown. I'll never let you forget that one.
Yep, that's right.
Seth Hammaker, dude, I could not be happier for this kid. And I think I knew it was real. He won the East-West Showdown, but sometimes those can be a bit chaotic. You got a good start, right? So I needed to see a little bit more, even though I knew it was there. And where I saw it was Birmingham. He made a mistake in the first race, tucked the front early in the race, had to come from the back. But the last two main events was he was dominant. He was clearly the best guy on the track. And that's when I was like, wow, this guy is for real. And then this weekend, again, I thought his 51.5 ended up being 0.7 of a second. Was it a full second faster than second?
A full second.
Yeah. In qualifying. And in the heat race, he got behind Thrasher. And this is where I was even more impressed because he got behind Thrasher in the heat race and he kept messing up both sets of whoops. It was the third whoop from the end on the first set, kept kicking him weird. In the second set, he was trying to jump. He was skimming. He wasn't committed to any line.
Yeah, he was a little undecided.
I thought he rode tight, kind of timid, not his usual self as of late. But then the main event comes out, and it looks like there is nothing that is getting inside of his head at all. He looks so present and focused on what he's doing. We talk about it all the time on RDL, but I think it's so important towards the end of these championships, especially when you're in the hunt of staying with an offensive mentality. It's easy to get a bit defensive and start thinking, oh, I need to, make sure I don't make mistakes or do this or do that. He looks so offensive and like he's just doing his best every lap. It looks like he's just simplified everything. Starts have been good. He made that super quick pass on, I believe it was Thrasher on the first on the first lap, and that was pretty much all she wrote, dude. He had control the whole time.
The whole time. Yep. From qualifying, he was unbelievable. I mean, when a guy is half a second better than the next guy, it's like, oh wow, he's on it. To be a full second faster was incredible. And then I was worried though after the heat. The heat wasn't great. AC. I was like,
Nope, wasn't.
Thrasher just straight up beat him, and Thrasher looked great. He
He looked motivated.
Yeah, he looked super motivated. He mentioned to JT or Will after that, forget which one did the interview, but he mentioned Bobby, team owner Bobby Reagan, fired him up. So I'd love to hear what Bobby said to him. But
yeah, Bobby fired me up before that heat race and had to go show him what I could do. So
he looked really motivated, and Hammaker just didn't look like himself. And I will mention, we talked about this a lot in private, how much the track changed from qualifying to the heat race.
Big time.
Totally different track.
Totally
Different track. And that's when I was like, oh, was Seth that good earlier on that style of dirt, on that style of track? And then all of a sudden now Thrasher is going to be better. So, and then the main event, that aggressive with some authority, that pass in that 90-degree turn right before that triple was like, hey, sorry guys, I'm here to win the race. I'm here to take sole leadership of this points lead, and like, I'm gone. See ya.
I think
I couldn't believe it. I was like, not that I couldn't believe it. I was just, he continues to impress me each and every time. And to go to the front like that by a guy that he just got straight up beat in the heat by, to go to the front and just like, never really put a wheel wrong. Made a couple mistakes, but everyone was making mistakes in the whoops and stuff. But he was great.
And Thrasher, like you said, I would love. I've actually played golf a couple times with Nate Thrasher.
He's a good player, right?
Yeah, he's a good player.
Yeah.
Normally wears like all Nike stuff, head to toe. Comes out with a clean kit. Hits the ball pretty straight off the tee. This had to be a few years ago now, but super good kid.
Yeah.
But man, he is like an enigma. And
what's
in
up
our
with that?
sport, dude, like he could come out and win a race by 10 seconds and then get 10th, straight up 10th the next week. I've really never seen anything like it. But whatever Bobby said to him before the heat race, dude, he came out and it was like there was nobody going around him in the heat race. Nobody going around him.
No. Yeah, I don't get it either, man, because it's like, what do you put your finger on to like, what's going on with those bad races? Like he's not even in the mix. His speed isn't that great. Then all of a sudden he's one of the best guys. He's won some of the toughest races. He won a couple showdowns. Like, I don't know. It's, if we're sitting here baffled, imagine the way he feels. Like surely he's like, he doesn't want to ride like that on those days.
Of course not.
So if we're thinking this way, imagine how he and his team and his family feels. It's like, man, but if you're Star Racing Yamaha, got to kind of keep hiring him because
he shows you he's got the flashes, right?
Yeah.
And that's what, it's a good point to make because a lot of times, even guys like Seth, like there were some people talking when Seth got re-signed with Pro Circuit, whenever that last contract was up. I believe it was last year. That people were like, I don't know about him. He hasn't been out there much and he's only shown you a few flashes here or there. But when you're a 250 guy and you do something like Thrasher, he did it in, I believe it was 2021, came out and won both of those races at Atlanta, the Speedway races. He's always been like that. It's like he blends in. You don't even know he's there until you do, and he just dominates. And as a team, especially with a young guy, teams will see that. Teams will see that and be like, we know it's in there. And they'll hire them just based off the potential of trying to put that together long term, right? Which doesn't always happen. But when you have flashes of brilliance like that as a young guy, you pretty much guaranteed a factory ride.
Yeah, and he's won, every year for 5 years or something like that?
Yeah, which is crazy.
Won a race. So, you got to keep hiring him.
P2, RJ, limited the damage. RJ is...
Sorry to interrupt, but what's going on with RJ? Because almost every podium interview,
I was better this weekend than I was last, so be better next weekend, knock off another win.
Like he doesn't seem that stoked on his riding. He's not like overly joyed and like, of course, now he wants to win and all that, but you just sense, is it the wrist maybe that's making him not ride to his best? So that's maybe where the frustration comes from, you think? Because he hasn't been like, he's even saying, "Oh, I'm not riding that good," and yeah, not lucked into podiums, but like, you sense a little frustration. Do you think it's the injury?
I do, and I forget who I heard it from this weekend, but I heard something. Of course, this is just speculation and some industry gossip here and there, but I did hear that potentially he was going to skip outdoors and get the wrist fixed again. I do remember at the start of the season, I believe I said this on one of our preview pods. I was at Tampa. The East Division guys had a press conference. I listened to RJ. I even asked him a question, I think, in the press conference, which was super nerve-wracking for me. Like I was on the gate of Anaheim 1. But
big media guy now.
Big media guy, but he was saying that the wrist wasn't at full strength.
Yeah.
Right? And when you watch RJ ride a motorcycle, there isn't anybody out there that requires as much upper body strength as RJ with how he rides. I mean, I love it. And it's so him to me. We talk about it all the time, how he's always trying his best. We even Lurch interviewed Mitch Payton this weekend at the start of RDL. Mitch said the same thing. Like RJ's a guy, he's going to go out there and get every single thing out of it. And you can see it, dude. Like RJ, you watch Jet ride a dirt bike and you're like, man, that's easy. I can do that. And then you watch RJ ride and you're like, no shot. I don't have it. There's no way and no way in hell I can ride like that. And so the fact that RJ, to me, in a sense, always looks like he's overriding the bike a little bit, but he's so, in the past, has been so strong physically that he's been able to make it work. So I think maybe you're right. Maybe he's just not able to hang it out exactly how he likes because that wrist is bothering him.
Yeah, something's up. There's obviously something going on because he doesn't seem too stoked on the podium, and seems like he's leaving a lot on the table that he's not able to get a hold of. Like it seems like he's frustrated. Like maybe if he was at full strength, he should have and could have won a few races. So obviously, winning Daytona is great, but I couldn't help but think of when you said the most upper body strength. And my mind went straight to Justin Barcia as well. And then I thought of, they're both down at Alden's. I wonder who can bench press more, RJ or the 51.
That's tough. That's a tough, I know Barcia's really good on a bicycle, right? He worked with Tom Danielson for a long time, ex-pro cyclist, Tour de France guy. Like he can put down some watts.
Yeah.
So most of the time a guy's super into the bicycle, they're not as into the lifting part of things, but it could be. I don't know. Yeah. What was your Matt? Well, just off topic real quick. Did you ever bench press when you were racing?
No, I didn't. I blow up. Like if I lift weights,
really?
I mean, I would do like a lot of body weight stuff. Yeah. But if I start bench pressing heavy weights and stuff, man, I wrestled almost all the way through school, and I lifted some there, and I feel like my body, as soon as I start lifting, it like goes back to that physique.
Beefy?
Like just big. Like I could get pretty big pretty quick if I
really
try. Should I get on the weights? I've always liked the bicycle as well. So it's always power to weight, dog. Power to weight.
I didn't know this about you. I didn't know this about you.
Yeah. Should I hit the weights?
Yeah, dude, let's hit the weights. I just got back. We're getting off topic here, but I just got back in the gym recently. I've been going 2 days a week.
Oh, wow.
Just doing. It's crazy because if I go to the gym and I do anything too heavy, I can't even, my neck, my arm, my shoulder, there's 15 different things on me that hurt. So I have to be super precise with what I do. Let's get back to the 250s.
Hold on. For all you fans out there, I did get a video of AC doing some push-ups in the living room last week. So he's telling, I don't know about the gym. I don't know if he's making up the gym, but I did get some videos of some push-ups going down. So we're bulking up. It's bulk season. It's almost summer.
Dude, all I got to do, I do like 3 push-ups and I'm shredded, dude. No, I'm kidding. I'm too skinny. And people have been calling me out about it on RDL. And I don't know, man. I just don't eat enough. I don't think.
Yeah, you don't eat enough.
But let's talk.
Hold on. I got to put some more respect on somebody's name real quick.
Oh, hit me.
I'm probably one of them. I might be guilty of this too. I think we need to put more respect on Tom Vialle's name.
Really?
Simple as that. I think, look.
Wow.
Look, he's from France. He wins a couple MX2 World Championships. He comes over here as a rookie, goes through the same rookie mistakes, but he never really hit a Supercross track. He's not your typical Marvin Musquin or Villemin or Rancard or Sorbier, all these French guys that race Barcia and race the Supercross series that they have. Tom Vialle came over here, and we expected, because he's a champion and all this stuff, we expected a certain thing from him. And then he actually wins the championship last year. He actually wins the championship after riding Supercross, maybe 12 months, his whole life.
Yep.
Maybe 12, maybe less.
Love it.
And he wins a championship. And now the expectations go way up, and he's not that good in the whoops and this and that. But the guy continues to get podiums. He continues to lead championships. He's a little ways out now. I understand that. But I think we need to put more respect on his name, man. I just do. I feel like, and like I said, I'm guilty of this as well, because the expectations of a champion, then you expect him to win at any discipline. But I don't think we realize how new Tom Vialle is at Supercross. Now, Supercross is way different than anything he was doing in Europe. Totally different discipline. It's like somebody playing baseball and then going to play golf. They're that different. And I don't know, man. I was just thinking about it, I think yesterday or something on the flight home. I'm like, we need to give him some more credit. So shout out Tom Vialle. You're doing great. You're doing great.
Last year, I would make that same argument you just did. I did not think, if anything, when an MX2 champ comes over to the States, you think he's going to be a favorite in outdoors, and he's just got to get through Supercross. Just don't get hurt. Just make it through all the races. Maybe get a couple podiums. That'd be great. He comes out. He did better in Supercross, won a couple races, won the championship, super clutch at Salt Lake. He did better in Supercross than he did outdoors.
Yep.
Which, very, very impressive. I mean, we haven't seen anything like that since Porcel just coming over here. And even he had a little more experience. He came over in 07 before he came and raced in 09 and won the East Coast title.
And he raced all those races. Like, I would race Porcel a lot in the off season. We already knew he was good at Supercross. We didn't know Tom Vialle was good.
And I like Tom. I haven't been around him much, but every time I've talked to him, super well-mannered, respectful guy, hard worker by all accounts, doesn't cut any corners. So tons of respect for the guy and his ability, and he's going to have a great long career in the sport. But okay.
All right.
I was expecting a little more of a jump. I know he's in this title fight, and he may still win the championship. No doubt. He's composed himself well after losing the points lead at the mud race. And I love that. I love how his temperament, love how level-headed he is for a young guy, learning a new culture, learning a new discipline. He's got everything he needs mentally and physically to come over here and have a long career in Supercross, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I was expecting, after the confidence that comes from winning a championship, I was expecting him. I'm not sure how his offseason was. He could have been hurt, could have been sick. I don't know. But I was expecting him to have a little bit more sprint speed, a little bit more raw speed. What I will say, what was impressive about the last couple weekends, even the showdown for him, is that he did his best work in the main event. The guy's a gamer, no doubt about it. Like, he is a gamer. He limits the damage. He does everything he can. He's the best. He's fit. He does the best in the main events. But if he wins this title and he's got to go to 450s next year,
it's not great.
With the sprint pace that I've seen that he has, that's not going to be fun.
No, I mean, everything I just said, praising Tom Vialle.
Yeah.
If you could wave a magic wand and he not win this championship, but then win another one next year or the year after, that would be the perfect scenario.
That's what I'm saying.
Because he's not ready for 450. We've seen some clips of him riding 450s.
Yep.
He's going to be fine, right? He's going to have a long-term career.
Sure.
Like you said.
For sure he'll be fine.
But ideally, he needs another year or two in the 250 class to get some of that sprint speed. But I'm just more talking about today as we sit here. He seems so reliable. Like, if I'm Ian Harrison, And I'm not getting many gray hairs from Tom Vialle.
Nope.
Like Sexton, I am. I'm fully grayed up. I'm fully grayed up. But
Wow.
Tom Vialle, like, I'm kind of fine. Like, I'm not that stressed. I know he's going to put himself in a good situation, a good position off the start. I know that he's not going to get super crazy in the whoops and try to carry a ton of speed and mess up and cartwheel. Like, I don't know. He just seems so reliable.
He's a winner. He's a winner.
I like that. I like that in him. And then you can build that speed slowly.
Kind of
the next couple
of reminds
years.
me of Justin Cooper a little bit.
For sure, yeah.
I could see that same type of – he could be a Justin Cooper in the 450 class, like eventually with some more time.
That's a great comparison, AC. It really is, because they're very similar. Yeah.
Do you think that it's in his mind at all? Like with this he would never tank it, right? He wouldn't tank it. He would. I mean, he wouldn't purposely not win this title.
No, I mean, I wouldn't think so. We've seen it happen before.
We've seen
it happen before. But I would have to think, and this is pure speculating, if you and I've wore the helmet before, right?
Yep.
He's going to try his best, but I would have to think if he doesn't win the championship, I don't think he's going to be like super bummed.
If he does,
I feel like he'll get another one.
If he does win the championship, and this may be crazy, and I'm not in tight. I'm an analyst, right? I only go off what I see and what I hear. But if I'm him, I win this title. If I win this title, I think maybe a good game plan would be to get on a 450 after the playoffs, to ride Supercross with the guys, to ride Supercross in the off season, in season, but maybe don't do Supercross.
That's what Jay Coop did.
Yeah.
Remember,
I mean, that was kind of a contract thing. I think he wanted to, and he raced a few here and there. Yeah. But I think that could be a good alternative for him. Just get ready for outdoors.
I'm lining him up at A1. Really? He'll whole shot A1 and probably get a fifth or a sixth, man.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, he's got skill, and don't get me wrong. I mean, I do think he needs more speed. I expected to see a little more speed, but nobody's saying that Tom Vialle is not a champion. Like, the guy knows how to get it done, no doubt about it. And I know that he'll have a good long career, as I said, but I just need to see a little more pace, dude. I got to see some more pace. I don't
disagree. I just think every time we and others talk about him, it's like, especially when he's leading the championship, oh, he hasn't won a race yet. He's only one out of the contenders that hasn't won a race. And here he is, got the points lead. And then, Vialle, I think we even said it this week, and he was like 10th or something for a while in qualifying. We're like, man, Vialle's 2.5 seconds off the pace. And then next qualifying session, he jumps to third or something, whatever he was.
You got a little soft spot for our guy, Tom.
It just started like yesterday.
Wow. Okay.
I'm like, man, we need to put more respect on that kid's name. He's good.
No, there's no
mainly
doubt.
Because of the time. We'll wrap up here with Tom Vialle, but the amount of time he has had on a Supercross track, is probably less than a lot of the SMX Next kids right now that are racing.
Last thing, we'll conclude. We'll stop there with Tom. I'm a fan, by the way. I know I said he needs to go faster.
No, it doesn't sound like it.
More speed.
Doesn't sound like it.
Come on, dude. See, this is what I hate. I hate having to like critique like these guys, because everybody watching this YouTube video, Tom Vialle would kick my ass. He'd kick my ass. He'd kick my ass last year. He'd kick my ass now. He's a great rider, man. I gotta say it. Do you think that Seth Hammaker, how he rode the other night, how he rode at Birmingham, is he beating Cole Davies? I mean, he did at the showdown, but Cole had a bad day, crashed. Seth had his best. Cole had his best. We were talking. You put me on the spot last week, which has blown up everywhere. Put me on the spot. Asked me if Cole Davies is the best 250 guy, Supercross guy in the world right now. Me saying yes. I got some strongly worded direct messages about that one.
Has Hayden called you yet?
No, Hayden hasn't called me. No. Hopefully he still follows me on Instagram. I really think, if anything, I'm doing him a favor, because champions like him, great guys like him, they always like the added motivation. Yeah. Just like when you were talking about how Chase is going to go on a run.
Yep.
And Coop called me out right away. Some crap for that.
Yep.
But so what do you think? Is Seth at his best? Cole at his best? Who you got?
I think it's track dependent, but didn't they just raced in Philly, right?
I guess you're right.
They just raced in Philly. The only thing I will say about that
I
is,
guess you're right. Yeah, he did pass Hammaker.
well, he
Passed
him
everybody.
and pulled away. Yeah.
I just forgot about that, dude.
So yes, I would say Davies. The one thing that I will say that it's not a weakness, but Davies is better than Seth in the whoops.
Yeah.
Period.
Seth's bike to me in the whoops looks way too stiff.
Yeah, something's up. And then in the main event, yeah, you said in the heat, I think it was a third to last whoop. In the main, the second to last whoop was like catching him out big time.
To me,
and sending his bike sideways. So yeah, I think Davies has the advantage there.
And that's one of the reasons, as we'll get into transfer into 450s, everybody thinks, especially casual fans, they think that running your bike stiff is good for the whoops. And to an extent, it is. It makes it predictable, especially having the front end stiff.
Depends
right?
what type of whoop too.
But and you can expand on this more. But when the bike is too stiff in a race, especially a day race like we just had MetLife, those whoops start to get a little slick, a little edgy. When the bike's too stiff, you're not getting that forward drive like you would if it was soft. And I do think that's one of the reasons why Chase was so good in that second set of whoops this week. I mean, he made them look brand new. And I do think Chase runs the bike soft.
Yeah. Well, and when they get rutted like they were, a softer bike is better for sure. Yeah.
Agreed.
It just is. It soaks up the cups a little bit better, soaks up the edges because you're always hitting edges, right? If the whoops were perfect and brand new, I mean, remember Stu used to set up his bike crazy stiff. And when whoops were fresh, there's still some viral videos rolling around of James. I mean, you can't go faster.
No,
you just can't.
No.
There's no way possible.
Absolutely not.
But when the whoops get really edgy and tough and cupped out, that's when it starts to not work as good. So
okay, so let's set it up. 450s. Last week we talked about it, but last week the finger gun, Chase gave it back to Webb. Webb on the podium saying, "I'm just going to come back, kick his ass."
We'll come back next weekend and kick his ass, though.
Mm-hmm.
And this week, Coop was unreal in practice. Looked like, oh boy, Chase pissed him off. It's over. He's going to go out there and destroy everybody. And he said, I believe it was after the first qualifier. Was it after the first qualifier? The gunshot one
healing
thing?
Up.
And he says I was. It was a tough week for me healing from that gunshot wound, which was amazing.
It's been a tough week recovering from my gunshot wound, so hopefully that heals quick. But
it was so good.
I love it.
I
love it so much. But main event time, dude, Chase just dropped the hammer, man. I don't think I've ever seen anything like that in my life.
It was unbelievable.
Like the second set of whoops, it looked difficult on TV. It looked difficult from our booth where we were sitting. When you and I, for the people at home, when you and I we call the event for the house. We call it for the stadium as well. So we'll do race day live. We'll go have lunch, take an hour or two in between this week. I was watching a Ken Burns Vietnam War documentary. I love to
which is just crazy, dude.
I gotta get away from people for a while. I'm like, people would be shocked at how much of a loner I am. In the beginning of the year, we were just watching our monitor, the same thing that we do with, with Race Day Live. But you and I, as of late, because we just have the one on camera for the night show, we turn the chairs around, and so we just watch through the glass, and we just watch the track, right? And even from up there, that viewpoint, those whoops looked horrendous. It looked horrendous, and people would be. I know people already think it's impressive, but if you went and walked the track after. You saw how Chase was able to make those whoops on that right-hand side. Look, and shout out to Cooper Webb. He tried. He saw that Chase was skimming him on the right, and props to him because he tried to do that, but he just couldn't do it the same. But I've just never seen that. I've never seen that, especially not from Chase. Like, he looked in control. I wasn't nervous watching him at all. He made a couple little mistakes.
Yeah.
But, I mean, he was a second and a half, 2 seconds faster most of the first 15 minutes of the race.
There was a couple laps where it was almost 3 seconds.
It was insane. And it wasn't just the whoops either.
No.
Wasn't just the whoops.
No, it obviously stemmed from the whoops, in my opinion. I think then the whole track just snowballs all together, right? And then if you're Webb, you know you're not as good in the whoops. You're trying everything you can do to match him, and then he's losing in the whoops. So then he's having to try to make up time on other parts of the track and override parts of, certain jumping into turns and do things that he doesn't like. He's good at it, but you can't sustain that for 20 minutes plus a lap. And eventually it was just too much to handle. And Coop said he got a little bit tight, which that was just trying to push that extra hard all around the track. Also trying so many different things.
I don't know.
In the whoops.
I don't know if you get, I feel like when you say I got tight, I feel like that is just something you have to say.
Yeah, but I could honestly see him getting arm pump, or like tight means so many different things. To me, it means you got arm pump.
Well, to me, if he got arm pump, he would have said he got arm pump. To me, saying I'm tight is just kind of like, I don't know what was going on. At least that's that. I could be projecting, right? Like that's some. If I said I was tight, I would just be like, I was riding bad. I was trying my hardest, and I just couldn't do it.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Speculation.
Yeah, whatever it was. But also, Coop owned it, which was his only play, which I thought was awesome.
Got a little tight, and that was all she wrote, right? And but yeah, with that being said, he did what he needed to do. He rode a great race. He kicked my butt, and I didn't put my money where my mouth was.
And then we were wondering what's Chase going to do? Is the finger gun going to come back out? Is it like, what's he going to say on the podium? Like there were so many things, right? And then they both played it super professional, like they are. They're both professionals, and I was hoping for a little more from like the broadcast point of view. I'm like, I want something to be a little bit spicier. But Coop owned it. He straight up said he got beat. And the one thing that I will say is this defines Cooper Webb. There's a picture going around on social media that shows Coop, his team manager Rich Simmons, and his crew chief, Jordan Troxel. They're standing there, and Coop's just staring at the whoops after everything was over, after the podium and all that. And he's literally just looking at the whoops. And that, to me, in, 15 years from now, when you talk about Cooper Webb, pull up that picture, because that's what I think of when I think about Cooper Webb.
100%.
He just got whooped. He said it. That's not my words.
He did.
He got whooped. But the first thing he does, he doesn't care that he just collected, I don't know, what do you think he made for that, 50K?
Yeah, I'd say 30,
whatever it was.
30 to 60.
Yeah, doesn't care about any of that. All he knows is, this is where I got beat tonight, and I need to be better here. And what do I need to do? How do I need to get better? What do I need to do? And he's willing to do it. How many guys have you seen out on the track after a main event, after they've got on the podium? There's not many guys that go out there. Sometimes you can win the race or go out there and be like, man, this section was so gnarly, and like show your team. That happens a good bit, but not very often guys go out there and truly like, hey, I wasn't good here. What do I need to do better?
So,
and I love that about Coop. I think it's,
me too.
It's really cool.
Funnily enough, I don't know why it just popped up. I did the same thing, San Diego 2020. You and I 1-2 in the heat race, by the way. I got so much arm pump, I thought about letting you by. You were crushing the whoops. But the second set of whoops.
Surprised I didn't blow by you in them, but
yeah, me too. Me too. Yeah, it was a nice little cakewalk heat race for me, dude. I was riding at like 60%. It was amazing. No, I'm kidding. But Coop, in the main event, I led. He passed me like second turn. I led until maybe 3 to go. In the second set of whoops, we were both jumping him. But this is what he does so good when he jumps the whoops, and Marv did this too, is a lot of guys, when you jump into the whoops, will roll the starter whoop and to triple in. And what Coop does is he skims off. He doesn't take the time to check up and roll down and jump high. He skims off the first whoop as if he was going to skim, but just gets a little higher to get that 3. And that's what he was doing in that second set of whoops at San Diego. And that's how he beat me. And so that just popped up in my head. I remember my Nick Way and my trainer at the time, I remember before that, like I was late to the press conference because we were just analyzing those whoops. But like you said, it's so difficult in that moment too, especially when I can remember I was livid. I thought that was it. Like I thought I had it. And sometimes you just want to get out of there.
Mm-hmm.
Like it takes a little something more as a racer you want it so bad that how much you want it overcomes the fact that like the heartbreak of it and how upset you are. Right. And that's what you're referencing with Coop, looking at the whoops. And like I said, if I'm Chase right now and I'm everybody in Chase's camp, I'm doing everything possible to not don't get complacent at all. Don't think you have Coop do not think you just have Coop beat. Like if you do not think that, because that's what great ones do. That's what great ones do. You think about in all sports, in all forms of motorsports, racing, whatever. The great ones almost never have 2 back-to-back races or games or whatever that are bad. It's how they bounce back. That's what makes great guys great. It's not that they don't have a bad race or have that, but I would be real on guard if I was Chase this week, because Coop is going to come out hot.
Yes. Yeah, there's no doubt about that. And I think Chase knows that, right? Obviously that group, Red Bull KTM, they know it. They lived it with Cooper Webb. They won a couple championships with him, so they know how he is. But the thing is, what's really cool for us, AC, right now is Chase creates his own destiny. Look, he has to win out, which we'll have to talk to Clinton this week, but I don't know how many times that's happened. Very, very rare. Maybe 1 or 2 times in the history of the sport where a guy has to win out 5 or 6 races or whatever, and they end up doing that to win. But it's clear right now, especially after last weekend, a lot of it was Whoop induced, but Chase was faster. Like he was. And then you're on record of saying it. I'm as well. I think the last 2 races, just from a dirt perspective, if they are like they have been in the past, Denver and Salt Lake City, I think Chase Sexton has an advantage just because of his roll speed and
how soft his
and
bike
also
is.
What I will say is some people are like, well, Coop was as fast as Chase in qualifying or faster. Well, remember what I said earlier in the podcast, the track changed heavily from qualifying practice to the night show. I think qualifying practice suited Cooper Webb track condition wise. Then I think it suited Chase in the night. So it literally can flip within a couple hours of track conditions. That's how easily it can change.
And I really think, I've said this probably every podcast we've done so far, but Chase runs his bike soft. It kind of reminds me of how, and Ken still runs his bike pretty soft. But when Ken was on Honda originally, do you remember his first race on Honda at Monster Cup when he crashed in that rhythm section? It was a perfect example and Cole, maybe you can pull that up, put it in the video. But perfect example of what happens when you run your bike so soft. A lot of the times when you run your bike that soft, you just have to be more precise.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be, and that's why Chase can get away with it. He's so physically strong. He's precise, but there's also been times, and like you said, about practice and the track being different. The track was overcast, a lot of moisture in the dirt. It was very sticky. So when it's sticky, when the dirt is very tacky and sticky, it pulls, you know this, Justin, but it pulls the bike down. So it'll make a soft bike feel even softer. And as we got later into the day, sun came out, track dried out a lot. And in my opinion, a soft motorcycle on a track like that, it's edgy. There's little chatter bumps everywhere. You still have to be very precise, but a soft bike ceiling is a lot higher to me than a stiff motorcycle. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, no, for sure. And another thing, just to extend on that point a little bit more, when there's ruts all in every turn, there's 5 ruts or 6 ruts, right, in qualifying practice, and some races are like that. We always talk about it. I mean, we beat it to death by now. If Cooper Webb going low in the turns, when there's not many ruts and it dries out, he can't really do that, or he can't come in as fast and pivot and accelerate off the exit. You can't do that as fast. So what do you have to do? You have to go in the middle of the berm or the top of the berm and just have roll speed. And Chase has so much roll speed. He doesn't use his clutch that much, so he can just roll around the turns and carry so much momentum. And Coop doesn't like to do that. He can do that. Look, he was by far the second best guy on Saturday. But the guy who he's battling for the championship was just flat out better in the whoops, better in those track conditions. And like you said, though, Coop will come back more fired up than ever, and it'll be a track dependent. And who knows? Coop could win this weekend.
He could absolutely win. Cole, I do want to pull up. Shout out Justin Barcia. So close to his first podium of the year. He was riding great. It's kind of a hometown race for him. Grew up upstate New York guy. Went down in the whoops, battling with AP. I thought it was just a weird one. JB. I looked like he was kind of almost a little bit. He was jumping through.
Yeah.
And you could tell he didn't see that coming at all, because he wasn't super far back on the bike or anything. So I thought it kind of just caught him off guard a bit.
That's what it looked like to me too. I was watching it earlier, and it was like totally unexpected. He barely clipped that last one with his front tire. Obviously he went over the bars pretty good, but it was like it just came out of nowhere. He'd probably done that, 20 times that day, 3 through that whoop section, no problem. And it didn't look like he did anything wrong, right? Like that was the hard part when I'm watching it. It was like, yeah, he did everything right. Or you can see it coming up on your screen now. It goes triple into that last one. If you can back it up a little bit more, Cole, to the turn. So he comes out of the turn right there. And most guys were rolling this first one and then going triple. And he lands that one like right in the pocket, no problem. Triple again. Lands this one right in the pocket as well. And then he comes up a little short, AC. And then the bike counts so right there. This is how Supercross is a game of inches.
Yep.
He tags it a little bit, and then it wants to extend, but it extends at the wrong time. And just,
That's all she wrote. And that's something that, and he's wearing the Alpine Star airbag thing. You can see, I noticed because there was a crash. Austin Faulkner crashed in practice in that long rhythm section. I believe you see the chest protector's all puffed up. But I guess the Alpine Star airbag system, it only goes off, as we watch Austin's crash here, it only goes off upon impact. So it helps basically the second impact. That's the way that, because you see he goes down there, takes the bars to the chest, and then it goes. Which it is very helpful. A lot of times when you crash, the thing that you're worried about most is the bike hitting you, right? So I think it's super helpful with that. But just wanted to show you guys that because I thought it was interesting. But Justin, people a lot of times when you're talking about jumping through the whoops, they almost say it as if jumping through the whoops is crazy easy. And yes, going double through a whoop section 99% of the time is very simple. But when you're jumping the whoops, you got to jump the whoops fast. And like you said, Justin, I mean, he came up 6 inches short. And then it's over. So it's hard to do.
Yeah. Oh, watch me try to jump a set of whoops. It gets ugly pretty quick. I don't like doing it. It's really, really difficult. And I raced Marvin all those years, who still to this day maybe is the best ever to do it. Like top 3 ever to do it for sure. Definitely. Maybe the best. So, and I would try to replicate what he would do at certain races. And it's just like, it's so difficult. And I do think Coop has taken it to another level. And Justin Cooper, how they jump into Marv was really, really good at doing it. And he would wheel tap. Like you mentioned.
Oh, he would wheel tap 4.
Skimming the 3. He would wheel tap 4.
Yeah.
And he was incredible. So there's definitely an art to it, just like skimming. There's an art to that as well. And to have both of them in your toolbox,
dude, I would jump whoops whenever I could, especially because I was dealing with the nerve thing since I got on a 450, basically. And the whoops were the one thing that made it so much worse. I remember Anaheim won 2022. Do you remember that big set of whoops after the finish line?
Oh yeah.
Dude, I would go, I got had hurt my shoulder a couple weeks before, but I would double the finish line, go all the way inside, and seriously, I was doubling through the whoops.
I think I
was
passed
seriously
you there in
doubling
the
through
heat
the whoops.
race. I passed you there in the heat race. I think Kenny won. I got second.
Really?
Maybe you got there, but
What place
I
did you
don't
get in
know.
the main?
Yeah, I know. I didn't win. No.
What place did you get? I don't know. No, I wasn't crap talking you. I was wondering. I think I got 12th.
Oh, in the main?
Yeah.
Oh, I can't remember in the main.
Top 10, I'm sure.
I don't remember.
Top 10 for sure.
Big whoops though. Really, really big whoops.
Those were, man, that's I talk about. We'll get on to some fan questions here. That's one year that I will say, just as always, as a human being, I'm going to look back and just wonder what if, because that offseason, that 21 offseason for me,
you were good,
dude. I was so good.
Really?
I was so good, and then I hurt my shoulder. And then then that led to me blowing my knee out at San Diego. But man, I still ran third for like half that main event with a grade 3 AC separation. Dude, I was gnarly, man. I was gnarly.
So tough.
That's so tough. All right, Cole.
Hey, quick shout out for you guys quickly.
Yep. Hit me.
We mentioned Austin Faulkner. Austin Faulkner showed up last weekend. He was good in qualifying practice.
Yes, he did.
We're running top 5 in the main event. Had a crash late, unfortunately, but there was glimpses.
Let's talk about Austin's crash in the main event too.
Yeah,
because I had just
it was right on cue.
I just started talking about how much confidence he's going to get from this top 5, and it was like he heard me. It was like he heard me, and he crashed instantly as soon as I said that, and I wanted to throw myself off a building.
And for people, like, this isn't exaggerating. Sometimes we can exaggerate, like, oh, it was right that instant that happened. Literally to the T. Instantly you said it, and instantly he crashed. Because, like, he wasn't really close to 4th.
He had
I think it was maybe
him.
Thrasher at the time. He had a huge gap on 6th. And it's like, yeah, man, you've had a great day. This is solid.
It's fantastic.
Just do the jumps.
Just do the jumps and finish.
Yeah.
But it was nice to see some signs of life from him. In qualifying, he was P2 in the first qualifier. I thought he had some glimpses, like some serious pace. And one thing I do, we talk about Austin coming back, coming back from his brain surgery and everything else he has going on. He also has been dealing with a kind of a similar nerve injury to mine in his arm that affects his grip strength too. So I know that was very tough for him, especially at the last few races have been very cold. So that is something, I think he's talked about it a little bit, but he's kept it pretty low key for the most part, which I respect. But he is dealing with, he kind of deals with that a little bit too. So signs of life from Austin, and then Colin Park as well. Great day for him.
It was a great ride. And really, really good ride.
Really good. And I remember watching Colin. He's a Florida boy, so we kind of grew up. He's a little bit younger than me, of course, but I remember watching him ride growing up. And he's a pretty good little rider at some local races. But I would have never thought.
He's not so little now.
No, he's not a little guy. I would have never thought in my life, I would have never thought he would be as good as he is now. That kid, he's worked really hard at it. Really, really hard at it. And he has gotten a lot better. And so he's great. I've spent a little bit of time around him and his family, his brother, like just great people. And yeah, shout out Colin Park. He's been doing a great job, and he barely got a ride this year.
Yeah, it was super last minute. He got a 4th on the weekend. I think he's 4th in points now. Like, he's doing well. Does this warrant a factory ride?
I mean, you at least got to give him a shot.
Got to give him a look, right?
You got to give him a look. Anybody else?
I'm a little nervous about the size, though.
He's a little tall.
He's pretty big on a 2 feet, which obviously a factory bike would even help.
Mookie won a title.
Yeah, he did.
He was a bigger dude, especially back then too. Mookie's all shredded now, fit. But remember, early in Mookie's career, dude, he's on a little bit of a loose program.
Remember that Cianciarillo kid in motocross was a pretty tall dude. He was pretty big that year that he won the title. What was he weighing in at that year, you think?
You know, it's funny. I just stepped on the scale yesterday, and I saw 168. And I haven't seen 168 since August of 2019. That was my – I just
That was your race weight?
just wanted to stay under 170. I couldn't.
Yeah.
I was racing the star bikes. Dude, Ferrandis was crushing it. J-Cube. I had to stay under 170.
Okay.
And I
So we were 168.
Yep.
What do you think
Between
Cullen is?
65 and 70.
Is Cullen 180? It's got to be, right?
No, you think?
I mean, I'm not saying he's like overweight. I'm just saying he's tall. Like, he's a big dude.
Just throw a sprocket on it, dude. He'd be fine. Lighten the flywheel up. Light flywheel. He'd be fine. Paddle tire.
And then I got to give a shout to, got him a top 10. Grandpa Earl.
Dude, I can barely see the hat. That's what it is?
That's what it is, a Grandpa Earl hat. Got him a ninth. Got him a solid top 10. What is it, 85 years old, bad knees and all.
Terrible knees. Awful knees. He's like mine. We really got to get into these questions, JB, because we're way over our time limit.
I like talking to you, though, man. It's fun.
Yeah, me too. Hopefully our people watching are like on a long car ride or something.
All right. So first question is, can Sexton truthfully feel a difference from triple clamp changes smaller than Jason Wigan's freshly manicured pinky nail? What is your take? Do you have similar experiences from your bike settings?
JB?
First off, anytime you mention Jason Wigan, it's great. Whatever he did,
love that guy.
I'm sure Weege did a great job. I'm sure his fingernail or something, or his pinky nail? I'm sure it looked great.
Hold on. You keep talking.
Anyways, yeah, I mean, honestly, at that level, and I tell people this all the time, they used to give me crap for being so picky with certain things. I was really finicky with my handlebars and grips. Like, I liked them a certain way. And I was always sensitive to the rear end ride height. And it's literally like we ride so much and we're so connected to the motorcycle. We have to get a certain feeling out of it. You can feel every little thing. And what did it say? He changed a triple clamp or something in the triple clamp?
Yeah, it just says triple clamp changes because on the broadcast, basically Weege talks about changing the height of the fork inside the triple clamp.
So he probably moved the fork up or down. Yeah, I mean, you can tell a millimeter of up or down, whether you're moving the forks up in the clamp, typically then, makes the bike a little bit, turn a little bit better most of the time. If you put the forks down in the triple clamp, makes the bike a little bit longer. Yeah, I mean, that's a decent size change. You can definitely feel that.
And Chase's bike at Anaheim 1, it started like this, and it's gradually gone this way.
Yes.
If anything, he's a little rear tall now.
Yeah.
Which typically you would say if you get your bike tall in the rear, which that's what people are doing now. Tomac made that pretty popular, I think. But if you make your rear tall for the whoops, most of the time it's, at least in my experience, like typically they would be worse. But it seems like he's got a pretty balanced setup right now. Cole, next one, hit me.
Well, this one's actually for JB.
Okay.
Does JB blitz all 20 minutes if he was racing?
Oh, no doubt.
Come on, dude.
Even
you're not skimming that second set.
Oh, 100%.
No,
I'm going right side with Chase. Just follow Chase, dude.
Not.
I'm going right or left side. No doubt. And even if dudes were passing me jumping, I'm still blitzing.
You stubborn.
Just
old
blitz.
Man,
all day.
You.
All day, all night, day race, night race, morning race,
nasty.
qualifying.
You're nasty. You're nasty in the whoops, dude. You really are. I believe it.
All right. So, Adam, does this ride from Chase break Webb? What will Webb need to rebound?
You can't break Webb. You can't break him, JB. It's just not going to happen.
No, you can't break him.
If anything, it's going to make him harder to beat, I think. I think Coop, as we talked about it earlier in the pod, but champs bounce back. And this is Cooper Webb's game, man. Into the title, all on the line. Like, I talk about it all the time, but the guy stays so calm on the motorcycle in these situations. It's not human, dude. Like guys,
Not human.
it's not human, man. People can't do that. But the way he's able to compartmentalize and just control his emotions is something it really is genuinely impressive. So I think if I'm Coop, I'm chalking it up to the fact that, we were looking at segment times, and it wasn't just the whoops where Coop was losing it, but when you're losing a lot in the whoops, it affects everything. It affects your attitude around the entire track. Golf reference, it's like sometimes when I'm not hitting my irons good, I don't putt well because it's just everything. It just kind of carries over. So I think Coop's just got to say to himself, that was one day. It's one Saturday. I wasn't good in these whoops. Chase was better, and that's it. I don't think Coop keeps things very, I think, simple for the most part. He won't overthink it. He won't think, oh, is Chase just that much better than me? No. Like, he's going to bounce back. He's going to bounce back in a big way. So, yeah, I think if anything, the emphasis for Chase just needs to be to lock in.
And does, on the contrary, for Chase's perspective, how much confidence does this dominant win give someone like him?
I mean, it's got to give him a lot, right? I mean, he was dominant. Webb kind of caught the toe there for a few laps, but just couldn't hang on. I mean, the pace in the whoop section, I credit Coop. He tried to skim him. He was doing everything he could. But Chase, it's going to give him a lot of confidence. And yeah, if anything, that scares me. It scares me that Chase has got to be feeling like he is just the absolute man right now. So this is where it's very important for him to just be level-headed and put it away and act like, you do want the confidence from it, but you don't want to get overconfident and let that make you a little bit less focused. But yeah, man, I mean, anytime you can go out there and just straight up put it to the guy that you're in the title fight with, I mean, Chase has got to be feeling like he's got it.
All right, so last one for both of you. What are your thoughts on double whoops? Should this be implemented for future tracks, or should there be more than 9 whoops?
JB?
Yeah, I mean, I have a lot of thoughts on all like that question, but I don't think it's a bad thing to have 2 sets of whoops on a track, whether it's back to back or different sides of the track. I think it's great. Every weekend, probably not.
Yeah.
I think I thought it was awesome. I think it's cool to see a guy like Chase rise up and be that elite, better than a 2-time champion in Cooper Webb, better than Aaron Plessinger, better than Malcolm Stewart, better than all these guys that are great, be that much better. Like, I think that's what's so cool when, Steph Curry scores 50 or 60 in a night. Like, it's really, really cool to see every now and again the elite guys do elite things.
Yeah.
As far as the 9 whoops, yeah, I mean, I just like if the max is 9 whoops, cool. 9 whoops sometimes. I wouldn't even mind if they did 6 whoops sometimes, or 7 whoops, made them really big and made them.
Yeah.
I just like
shorter lanes, the shorter lanes where they do the big kind of more spaced out whoops like they used to do.
Yeah, I just want different. Like, I feel like now we are, like, I think it's 13 feet apart, I believe. I don't know. I don't like the spec stuff all the time, where then, because we would build it at the test track, right? AC, we would build 3-footers and 5-footers in exact rhythm lanes that they're going to have at the track or at the races, and the exact size of whoops and built with a certain piece of equipment. I just like variance. I love seeing guys have a whoop advantage by jumping one weekend, and I love them having a whoop advantage by skimming the next. So I think that's what I would like to see, just a little more variance in the way things are built and different sizes.
And to me, and I've said this before, I had Dave Prater on my Plugged In podcast, which I am keeping, by the way, folks. I haven't done one in a while, but it's a separate deal from this, the AC and JB show. But we were talking about the 9 whoop rule and how they basically had data that showed a lot of the times the guys crashed. It was, towards the 10th, 11th whoop, right? So they did make it on actual clean cut data. But I think that we can get away with doing more whoops, doing bigger whoops, if there's a safe way to build whoops, right? There's a way to make it difficult, but not overly, because at the end of the day, we have to keep our stars on the track. If our stars are not on the track, the sport's not going to, it's not going to be as exciting. Like it takes precedent over almost everything to me. I think from a fan's perspective, everything, it's so important to have the stars on the track. So I'm in favor. People will call me soft, whatever. I don't care. I'm in favor of doing what you got to do to keep people to a degree, right? Supercross is always going to be hard. And that's why
say we could go on for days about this, because then Jet and Eli don't even crash and they miss the whole season.
I know.
So it is a difficult situation that everybody's in, right? Especially the Feld and the track builders.
It's no black and white answer.
No.
Right. But I do think that there were times where I hit whoops. I mean, back in like 2016, 2017, dude, there were some big whoops. Like I remember Indianapolis 2017. Do you remember that race?
Indy 2017. Yes, I do.
Do you remember practice? How big those whoops were?
Yeah.
Like I'd never seen anything like that in my life. So there's ways that we can build the whoops a little bit different, a little bit bigger, and do it the right way. Right? Like a lot of times now, I think they're built with the dozer. Am I wrong, JB?
Pretty sure most of them are dozer now, yeah.
They're dozer. And so the big whoops are typically built with a loader. And that's when you build them with the loader, that's where guys didn't jump as much because it was so steep in between each whoop that it was almost impossible to jump fast. So I think there is a place for those whoops still. I do. I just think we got to be super. The SMX track crew, man, they do a dirt work. They do a fantastic job. I couldn't do the job, but I just think that there needs to be some. I just think they got to build them a certain way.
Yeah,
that's
and
it.
The thing that to quickly on this is, look, I rode the track on Friday. I know I've ridden big whoops.
Yeah,
these whoops were not hard. They were not big. They were not built real steep. They were honestly very, very basic level whoops. But what makes them hard is just the bikes. They get really edgy, right? So that's what makes them difficult. So when people talk about, oh, the whoops are big and steep or this or that, what happens is just the bikes that cup them out, no matter if they're small whoops, big whoops, whatever. So that's when 100%. They get dangerous. But these whoops this weekend, they were a separator, but it's simply because of the way they developed. They weren't tough whoops. They weren't.
No, I agree 100%.
The way they were built, I'm saying. They got tough because of the edges and the ruts.
Dude, we're at an hour and 28 minutes, dude. Remember when we were talking about how we want to do this podcast, make it like a half hour long? Because apparently that's your guys' attention span. That's the analytics say. Everybody tunes out after 30. So you guys let us know. You guys let us know in the comments if you want us to go long, you want us to go shorter. Give us your insight. Because JB, I don't know about you, but at the end of the day, man, the people that support us, like they've made our careers, right? Like they really have. And I am genuinely appreciative of everybody that supports this, supports our podcast, supports you and I. We get great comments on Race Day Live every week, but really want to just invite the fans to give us your feedback on Race Day Live, podcast, whatever you guys want to see. If last week we were talking a lot about contracts, money, stuff like that. People find that really interesting. I think as that stuff comes up and we hear more about these guys going to, we've heard Chase maybe going to Cowie or this guy going here. Tomac maybe out at Yamaha. Like as we get the kind of the info on that, we'll definitely, share it when it's appropriate. But just want to invite the fans to give us some feedback.
Love it. Last thing, I'm gonna put you on the spot.
Love it.
Cooper Webb or Chase Sexton for this championship?
So
3 to go.
This is a tough spot for me, and this is a great time for me to address this. Because people say I'm biased because Chase and I, Chase started riding. He moved down to Florida from Illinois, I believe 2016. He's like 15 years old. He was a Geico Honda guy, and we started riding together, started golfing together, and he was like a little brother to me for years, right? And then, of course, as we get older, dynamics change. I've always, I think Chase is a good kid. He's my friend. Do I talk to him all the time? Absolutely not. Actually, you know what? Chase is a terrible texter, man. I'll text him good job after a race, and he will literally text me back on Saturday morning or Friday. Thank you.
The next race.
Yeah. So I just want to say that I have friends on the track. There's no doubt. I mean, that's what happens when you grow up in an industry. You race these guys your whole life. You're going to have friends. You're going to have enemies. But at the end of the day, I am a professional. And if Chase does something sketchy, or if Ken does something sketchy, any of my friends out there, I'm going to call them on it. Just like I would call Webb, just like I would call anything. I really am passionate about doing this job correctly. And I will not let any personal biases come between myself and this job. So that just needs to be said right off the bat, between this Coop because I'm not friends with Coop. I respect that. I respect the shit out of the guy. He's amazing. I've ridden with him, raced him since we were kind of amateur rivals, whatever. But I got nothing but respect for that guy, 100%. And so to get to your question, I would say if I was an analytics guy, I would go with Coop. He's got the points lead. He's done this before. He's won close championships in the past. He's just good, man. When the pressure's on, as I said, his mindset when he's on the bike in the heat of the moment, I trust Cooper Webb more in those moments than I trust Chase right now at this point in their careers. That's just how it is.
Yep.
And so I guess I would have to go with Coop. But do I think that Chase can do it? Absolutely. No doubt about it. I mean, we saw what he has this week. We've seen it plenty of times before. And that's what I started our show with, RDL, this week, talking about what this championship would mean to both of these guys. Mm-hmm. Chase has an opportunity to change the narrative for himself, for the fans, for everybody. He could really change the course of his career right now and kind of be that alpha guy, right? If he is able to pull this off. So I do think that Chase is, has the potential to be an all-time great, no doubt about it. And I also think if Cooper Webb wins this title, 3 Supercross championships, it's more than James Stewart, more than Chad Reed. I mean, that puts him, he's one of the best Supercross riders of all time, in my opinion. So a lot on the line here, JB.
And the reason I ask that is because I do feel like if things go a certain way this weekend in Pittsburgh, I think we revisit that question. If Chase wins again and Coops gets second, I mean, I don't know. I just love it because they're both amazing, like you said. Can Chase do it? For sure. Is Coop more trustworthy as we see here today? For sure. So, yeah, it's going to be awesome to watch down the stretch in Pittsburgh this weekend. I don't want to be a weatherman, but I looked. Some rain in the forecast.
Really?
Mid-60s and rain as we sit here today. So I'm not predicting mud or anything because, like we said, the track crew is amazing and it has to rain at a certain time.
I got a question for you.
Muddy, but
I got a question for you. So it's something we haven't really talked about, but both their teammates, Chase's teammate, Aaron Plessinger, and Coop's teammate, Justin Cooper, they're in a battle for who is the third best guy right now. Are we about to see some team tactics? Are those guys going to let their teammates by if they have to?
Oh, let their teammates by? Well, I think you have to look at it from a different angle. Is your teammates with a certain person not by choice? You're friends with people by choice. And Coop and AP are friends. They're legit friends. Mm-hmm. So that doesn't mean that. I don't know. I just think I don't know. To answer your question, I lean towards the side of no. But if we come down to Salt Lake and a team wants a certain thing, I mean, I think you have to listen. But also, I don't know if I could see Jay Coop letting Coop by for sure.
I could see Aaron letting Chase by. Dude, if your guys, and it's happened to me before. You get called in the rig. You have a little team meeting before the night show that says, hey, if this guy is behind you and we need you to let him by, you're letting him by. Yeah. Those are the guys that are signing your checks, dude. Like the fans can say whatever they want. You got to listen to your boss at the end of the day.
For sure, yeah.
So, I don't know, just an interesting thing to pay attention to.
Yeah, I was more thinking from like a different – I understand that. I was more thinking of like, are they going to race each other a certain way? Will AP race Coop a little bit different than maybe he wouldn't? I wasn't really thinking about the whole Chase and AP dynamic.
I get it.
But I agree with you there.
Just something to keep an eye on. Could be a little interesting.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, JB, Cole, thank you, my friend, everybody. Thank you for supporting this podcast the way you do. I think, Justin, I know you have a great time doing this. I have a blast. I love talking dirt bikes, man. This is not a job for me. This is just good time. So appreciate you guys.
On to Pittsburgh.
Let's go.